Hi friends, today I want to show you how to make this adorable cup cozy. With the 4th of July holiday coming up, I thought it might be fun project. It's very quick to work up, comes in 3 different sizes, and it's great obviously for a coffee cup like this, but the other way that I like to use it in the summertime is on a pint glass. And here you can fill up your pint glass. If you have an iced latte or an iced drink, maybe lemonade in there, you're not going to have any problems with the condensation from the outside of the glass harming your table because it is covered on the bottom and it's crocheted up in 100% cotton, so it's very absorbent and works great for those summer drinks. All right, to get started on this, I want to show you the materials that we'll need to use. And today I'm going to demonstrate how to make this in a 12-ounce size. I have a Starbucks coffee cup here in the 12-ounce size, and we're going to make one that will fit that, but the pattern that will be linked down in the description also contains the instructions for making this one, the 16-ounce size, or an 18-ounce size, which works really great with either a venti latte, iced latte, or a tumbler, or anything, one of those larger, even water bottles and things like that. The 18-inch or the 18-ounce size works great for those. The yarn I'm using today is Lion Brand 24/7 cotton yarn in the colors navy, white, and red. I will say, however, I have made the same cup cozy. This is another 16-ounce version. I made this one completely in scrap yarn that I had in my stash. So really any 4-weight category yarn, worsted weight yarn, works really great for this project, and it doesn't seem to be that finicky about the yarn itself. I will also be using a number 5 crochet hook. I like the Laurel brand or the Laurel line from Furls brand. And you'll need a yarn needle and a pair of scissors to finish it up. All right, let's get started. We'll be starting the bottom of our cup cozy working in the round, and I like to start my projects like this with a magic circle. And here's how I make mine. I hold the yarn between my thumb and my ring finger, and I wrap it around my other 2 fingers, and then I grab it between my pinky and my ring finger. And then I go under this strand, I grab the other one and twist it, and then I pinch my ring just so that I can hold on to it, and I chain 1 to lock that ring in. So there's my magic circle, and we're going to place 9 half double crochets inside our magic circle, or if you choose to use the chain 2 method or the chain 4 method, those are perfectly acceptable as well. But I've used the magic circle, and again, we're going to do 9 half double crochets. I've got 1 in there. To do a half double crochet, we yarn over, insert our hook in the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, that's a half double crochet. Here's another. Yarn over into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 on your hook. All right, let's get these 9 half double crochets into our magic ring, crocheting right over that tail, and then we'll move on to round 2. Okay, I have my 9 half double crochets all crocheted across the tail of the circle, and now I'm just going to grab this tail and I'm going to cinch it tight, closing that circle off, and then I will join back to the first half double crochet with a slip stitch. And there it is. And you can tighten it up even more later. I like to give it a good tug and have a nice closed bottom on my cup cozy. But then once that's done, we've joined with that slip stitch, we're going to chain 2. And this will be an increase round. We're going to count this chain 2 as a stitch, so this is going to count as 1/2 double crochet, and then I'm going to place another 1/2 double crochet right into that same stitch. And the way we'll complete this increase round is we will be placing 2 1/2 double crochets in each stitch around. And then since we're counting that chain as a stitch, we'll have 18 when we're finished. So go ahead and get started placing your 2 1/2 double crochet stitches in each stitch around. And we'll meet back at the end. It's 17 and now 18. And that finishes off that round. I wanted to let you know that off camera I did weave in my end here, mainly because that tail is distracting as you're trying to watch the video, so I wanted to get it out of the way. So now that I have my 18 1/2 double crochets, I'm going to join to the second chain of the chain 2 at the beginning of the round that we said did count as a stitch. I'm joining into that with a slip stitch. All right. And then I'm going to chain 2 once again, and again this will count as our first 1/2 double crochet in round 3. In round 3 we need to increase again up to a total of 28 stitches. The way we're going to do that is we're going to place 2 1/2 double crochets in the first stitch. So I've got the one, that's my chain 2, and now my second one. And then we're going to place 1 1/2 double crochet in the next stitch. So that's a total of 3. And we're going to continue doing that all the way around, adding a total of 9 stitches, and then we're going to tack on 1 extra one at the end to get us to an even number, because if we just do this pattern of 2 1/2 double crochets followed by 1, we'll get to the end and we'll have 27 stitches, but really we need 28 because we need an even number. So we're just going to add 1 extra one at the end. Okay, so I'm going to continue working with my 2 1/2 double crochets in the next stitch, followed by 1 1/2 double crochet in the next stitch, and then keep going around with 2 and then 1, 2 and then 1, all the way around. And we'll meet back at the end where I'll show you where I stick in that extra stitch. Okay, I've put 24 stitches into this round so far, and I want to show you how I completed to add in that extra stitch. So I just did 2 and then 1, so that got me to 24. We're going to go with 2 in the next stitch to make 25 and 26. And then normally we would put 1 here for 27, and that would complete an increase round, but we need that even number stitches. So we're going to put 1 extra stitch in there to make 28. And again, we'll close this off by joining to the chain 2 at the beginning of the round with a slip stitch, and that completes round number 3. Okay, we're done increasing, that's it. And at this point, I recommend grabbing a tape measure or a ruler and just checking to make sure you have a bottom that's about 2.5 to 2 5/8 or so inches. This will ensure that you are staying on gauge and that your cup cozy will be large enough to fit over your cup. Okay? So this whole project is worked with everything on the right side of the work, so we'll never turn any of our rounds. So this, what we're looking at now, is the right side. We're going to chain 1 to begin round 4, and we're going to place a 1/2 double crochet right into that first stitch, and then another one in the second stitch. And we're going to keep working this way, placing 1 1/2 double crochet in each of the 28 stitches around the base circle that we've created here. So no more increasing, just 1/2 double crochet in each stitch around. And we'll meet back at the end where I'll show you how we're going to create what's called an invisible join. All right, we're back here at the end. I've got 27 stitches in. I've got one 1/2 double crochet left to add, and we're going to do that now. So one more 1/2 double crochet, that makes 28. And I should have mentioned at the beginning that the chain 1 that we made at the beginning of this round does not count as a stitch. We did count the chain 2s in the previous rows, but from now on we will not count the chains at the beginning of each round as a stitch. So we place that first 1/2 double crochet right back into the same stitch to count as our first stitch. One of the nice features about my red, white, and blues cup cozy is that it is practically seamless. I don't know if you can tell by looking exactly where the seam is. I'll show you in case you can't. It goes right up through here, and it's incredibly subtle. There's no big jogs or any obvious changes as you hit that seam. So it looks good on a cup, whether you have the seam facing you or facing away from you, you don't notice it. So that we are going to accomplish using an invisible join. And to do that, we need to join in a little different way than we normally would with a slip stitch. We're going to pull our hook out of that final loop on our 28th stitch, and working over the top of our working yarn, we're going to push our hook through the first stitch of the round, and then we're going to simply hook that loop that we left behind on the other side, and we're going to pull it right through that stitch. Okay, and then to close that off, we're going to chain 1, and that is how we create the invisible join. Okay, that was the end of round 4. And round 5 is now when we're going to start working in what's called camel stitch. And to do that, we're going to begin the round with a chain 1. It will not count as a stitch. And we're going to do the camel stitch. And to do the camel stitch, we're going to be working 1/2 double crochets in the 3rd loop of each stitch. And I want to show you where that 3rd loop is located. So if I look at any of our 1/2 double crochets, we're looking at them from the front side. We have the top of our stitch that's made up of the front loop here, the back loop here, and then if you tilt it toward you, you'll notice that there is another loop that runs horizontally right behind the back loop. That is called the 3rd loop, and that is the loop that we're going to work in for the next several rounds. All of our red and white stripes will be worked in the 3rd loop of the stitch, okay? So we've chained 1, and we're going to put a 1/2 double crochet in the 3rd loop of that very first stitch, which is right there. And same thing in the next stitch, working in that 3rd loop, which is just below the back loop of the stitch. And you can see here as we're working what that does. Oops. Basically, as we work this round, you'll see that the front or the top of our stitch now leans forward and is actually pushing out towards the front of our work. And that gives that really nice knit stitch look to our cozy as we work around in these stripes. Okay? So continue working all the way around back to the beginning in 1/2 double crochets placed in the 3rd loop of each of the stitches around round 5. And we'll meet back up, do another invisible join, and I will show you the invisible join with a color change, because in round 6, we're going to change over into our white. All right, we're at stitch number 27, and here comes stitch number 28 in the 3rd loop. And we're back to the beginning. So now we're going to do another invisible join, working over the top of our working yarn, putting the hook in from the wrong side to the right side, placing that loop on the hook, and sometimes it helps to just pull it a little bit tight so you don't have to struggle to get it through the loop. Of course, I'm going to struggle anyway. There we go. And now, instead of closing it off by yarning over with our red yarn and pulling it through, I'm going to pick up my white yarn. And I'm leaving a, 6-inch tail or so I have something to weave in later. But I'm just going to simply pull that white yarn through. And now I'm going to take the tail from my red yarn and I'm going to lock it in by pulling that tight. And then I pull my white loop tighter, separate my tails here. So I got my red tightening it down to grab that white yarn. And now I'm just going to chain 1 with the white yarn. And we're ready to start round number 6. And round number 6 is just a repeat, basically, of round number 5, where we're going to place half double crochets in the 3rd loop of each stitch around. And then this row or round, we will join with an invisible join. But this time we don't need to change colors because each of our stripes will include two rounds of each color. And for the 12-ounce size, we're going to have a total of 4 of these rounds. So 2 of these camel stitch rounds in red, 2 in white, 2 in red, 2 in white. The 16 ounce is larger, so we have some extra rounds, but we're just going to do the 4, okay? I'll meet you back here one more time to show you the invisible join with a color change. So I'm going to complete this round, do the invisible join without the color change, and then I'm going to complete one more round, and we'll be back to needing to go back to red, and I will demonstrate the invisible join with the color change one more time when we switch back to red. Okay, I am almost done here. I've got my last 28th half double crochet in the 3rd loop in my 2nd round of white. And now it's time to switch back to red. Now you'll notice we just have our red yarn still dangling here. I didn't finish it off or cut it or anything, which makes it nice at the end when you don't have to weave as many ends. So now we're going to complete the invisible join. Again, working over our working yarn, going from the wrong side to the right side, hooking that loop and bringing it through to the back side and then tightening it up. And now I'm just going to drop this white yarn because we're going to pick it up again later. And I'm going to pick up my red yarn. And again, I'm going to secure that red yarn in place by pulling on the white yarn to lock it in. Chain 1, I think I need to pull this just a bit. Find that happy medium, chain 1. And now we're going to go right back to the same repeat on round number, I think this is number 8. And we're going to place those half double crochets in the 3rd loop of each stitch around. And then when we reach the end of this round, we'll do an invisible join and complete a chain 1 and another round of the half double crochets in the 3rd loop. And then we'll be back again to change colors back to the white. And just like we did this time, we'll just simply pick up the white yarn when we need it and join it in through that invisible join, and then complete the 2 rounds of the white in the same stitch pattern. Okay, so basically we are going to complete this red round. I think that's number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, number 8. Round 9 will be another red round. Then rounds 10 and 11 will be white rounds. So again, nothing changes. We just keep working in the same stitch pattern, and I will meet you after round 11 to show you how we're going to switch over to the blue stars part of the flag. Okay, so keep right on going, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 11. Okay, we're at the end of our round, number 11, and we're ready to do an invisible join. But at this point, we have our 4 stripes of red and white, and we don't need our red yarn anymore for the project. So we're going to go ahead and snip that off, leaving a tail that I will weave in later, but you can weave it in now if you want to. And that means we are done with red, and we're going to be moving on to blue. All right, so we'll do another invisible join, working from the wrong side to the right side, snagging the loop, pulling it through to the back side of the work, tightening it up. And now we're going to add in our blue yarn just the same way we did as our white yarn. We're going to put it over our hook, bring it through, and then tighten down with our white yarn to secure it in place. And then, just like we did with our white yarn, we're going to chain 1, and we'll tighten that down a little bit. And this round, we're going to be working again in the 3rd loop on the half double crochets, but instead of doing half double crochets around, we're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch around, working in that 3rd loop in the back. Continue working around round number 12, and when you complete it, you can go ahead and complete the round with an invisible join, the same way we've done all along. Oops, single crochet. And then we'll move on to our round number 13, where we'll add in the white stars. All right, I've completed round 12, and I've placed the invisible join in that first stitch. And now to start round 13, we're going to start adding stars. This is a bit of a fiddly round, and you just have to take your time and be patient with it. You only have to do it 3 times, and the rounds in between are very easy. So we're going to start out round number 13 with a chain. And then again, from now on, we're working only in the stitches themselves. We're not working in the 3rd loop anymore. So to start out, we're going to be placing a half double crochet in the very first stitch, but we're going to be making a color change back to the white. So I complete the half double crochet up to the point where I need to do the final yarn over and pull through, but instead of doing it with blue, I'm going to reach to the back of my work, pick up my white, yarn over, and pull through the 3 loops on my hook with the white yarn. And I can pull down on that blue yarn a little to tighten it up. So there's my half double crochet with a color change, and the pattern explains how to do this as well. In the next stitch, we're going to make what's called a mini bean stitch. To make a mini bean stitch, we're going to insert the hook in the stitch and pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over our hook, insert the hook in the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So now that we have 4 loops on our hook. But here too, our next stitch is going to be blue, so we're going to make another color change. So we're going to pick up the blue yarn from the back, and we're going to yarn over and pull that blue yarn through those 4 white loops on our hook. And we're back to blue again. So same thing here, we're going to do a half double crochet in the blue in the next stitch, making that color change at the end of that stitch. We're back to the white, and now we're going to do a mini bean in the next stitch, the mini bean again. You don't yarn over, and that's one of the things that makes this fiddly, because I always want to yarn over at the beginning of my stitch, but you don't. So you insert the hook into the stitch, pull up the loop, yarn over, insert again in the same stitch, pull up another loop for 4 loops on the hook, drop our white yarn, pick up our blue yarn, yarn over, and pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Okay, back to a half double crochet, having it at that stage, and then changing over to our white yarn. And now we'll make the mini bean stitch. Go in, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, go in again, yarn over and pull up a loop for 4 loops on the hook. Switch over to our blue, get that white out of the way, switch over to our blue, pulling through all 4 of those loops. And that is how we're going to make our stars. So we're going to keep working around in the same way, making a color change at the end of each stitch. And we're going to alternate the half double crochets in blue with a color change to white, with the mini bean in white with a color change to blue. And that's it. And keep going around, blue, white, blue, white, blue, white, and we'll meet back at the end. Okay, we are coming up to the end of round 13. I am making my last color change from blue to white. And I'm going to place my last mini bean stitch in the final 28th stitch below. And again, even though it's our last stitch, we're still going to change colors over to the blue so that we can do our invisible join into that first blue stitch. We want it all to be the same color. So here comes the invisible join. Tightening that up. And there we go. There's our first round, round 13, with our stars and our white stars on our blue field background. So now we are back in our blue yarn, and I forgot to close off that invisible join. So now we're going to chain 1, and just like we did before, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around in blue. So we're going to have a single crochet round of blue, then a round of the stars, and then we go back to our single crochet round of blue, and then we'll place another round of stars, and we'll keep doing that until we have a total of 3 rounds of stars, and then we'll simply end the project with 1 more round of single crochet in every stitch around in the blue. Okay, so I am going to keep working on that. So we've got a single crochet, a star row, a single crochet, a star row, a single crochet. I will meet you at the end of our project when we complete that final round of single crochet blue, and we'll see what we've got. All right, keep going. As I'm finishing up row 17 here, I thought you might be interested in knowing how I keep my yarns from getting all twisted. The way I do that is when I make my color chains, and let me do my half double crochet. Okay, I need to make a color change. I always drop my blue yarn off to my left and keep my white yarn over on my right hand side. And I never twist them in the back. I always drop the white one to the right, the blue one to the left, and that keeps them from getting all twisted around each other, because that can be a pain in the butt when it happens. Anyway, that was my last stitch of round number 17, and I'm making my invisible join here, my blue yarn, and then round 18 is our final round, and that round is just putting a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll meet back up and we'll try it on our cup, and I'll show you how the ends are woven in and that sort of thing. Okay, be right back. Okay, I've just completed round number 18 for the 12-ounce cup cozy size, and I completed that chain after I got in there, and I'm pulling up some extra yarn for something to weave and cutting that off. Same thing with our white yarn. Cut that one off too. Okay, so I'm going to flip this inside out so you can see what it looks like. You can see we really don't have that many ends to weave considering how many color changes we made throughout the pattern. There's a total of 6. I already wove in the first one. There's 5 more here, and you can come back after you're done and just weave any white yarn into white colors on the front. When you start weaving, make sure you stay within the same color so you don't get funny patterns on the other side. And then of course a red yarn, you'll just weave it right through the red stitches, the whites through the white stitches, and the blues through blue stitches, and you will have yourself a cute little cup cozy. Again, this is the 12-ounce size, so let's do a couple little measurements here and see what we came up with. All right, this is measuring at 5 inches. Sorry, you can't see that. This is measuring about 5 inches tall, and in the thickest part up here in the blue, it's about 3 3/4 inches wide. It's a little narrower, about 3.5 in the striped area. And you can see here that we can slip this right onto our coffee cup. We can ditch all those little wasteful cardboard sleeves and show up in style at our Starbucks and other local coffee shops, and here you have your very own cup cozy that you can use on your holiday picnics. They make great decorations. You can make some for friends so that if you're having a little holiday celebration. They're wonderful and they're a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video with a thumbs up. It really helps to support me growing my channel. All right, have a great day.